back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2017 Rift Rivals. Of course, it's going to be between the Garena Premier League, the League of Legends Japan League, and the Oceania Pro League. But before anything else, of course, let us introduce ourselves. We are going to be your casters, Arctic at your service, fam, and of course, with me is Vulcan.
So hello to everyone here. We hope you are enjoying Rift Rivals so far. I just love that second game between the second seed of OPL and then LJL second seed. It was really entertaining. I loved how the gameplay went far, especially that that Rengar really caught my eye.
Oh yeah.
The more defensive build, but this is all about, in my opinion, more of camaraderie. This is Rift Rivals, an opportunity for all teams around the world to come together, enjoy each other's company if they want to, or try and dish out more pride and more bragging rights in today's Rift Rival.
Indeed. Of course, let's go ahead and I believe we'll be checking out our schedule if I'm not mistaken.
So let's see what's coming up next.
So yes, of course, currently right now we have LJL Unsold Stuff Gaming competing against GPL's MSK Gaming. Of course, later on it's going to be OPL Dire Wolves versus LJL Rampage, and we'll be capping off the day with LJL's Detonation Focus Me versus GPL's Ascension Gaming.
This is going to be an interesting game 3 because in a way that this is the third seeds of both regions fighting it out, especially Unsold Stuff Gaming is from LJL, one of the newer regions entering the League of Legends community, whereas MSK is from GPL, one of a veteran in the League of Legends scene.
Yeah, but of course, aside from that, with 2 games passed, I'm really interested, of course, in seeing those standings so that we could determine just where we're at right now with the Rift Rivals, because at this point, for those that really want to achieve glory, every single win counts. And I know for a fact that it's not just about the teams here, but even the summoners watching that really want at that glorious golden icon.
The promotion's going on right now for League of Legends. I wonder how it works, Arctic.
So, well, yeah, basically all you have to do is purchase your Rift Rivals icon for only 1 IP. I mean, it's very easy to get 1 IP, just whether you win or lose a game. But of course, all you have to do is purchase that icon and play a game. And if luckily the region wins, you'll be able to not only get that 1 IP icon, but also you'll be rewarded with the golden 2017 Rift Rivals Summoner icon, which personally I want to get as well. So fingers crossed. But of course, at the end of the day, we'll just have to see who emerges on top for the region.
So let's see what region comes on top in the standings to see what's our recap on what happened. As far as I know from the first game, it was very explosive with Gigabyte Marines securing the victory, whereas the second game, LJL actually secured that game. And now the third game, it's going to be between MSK from GPL and again LJL, Unsold Stuff Gaming.
So there we go. And into the drafting phase will actually be going. I'm really interested in getting into this action right now. So Unsold. There we go.
So on to the drafting phase of Unsold Stuff Gaming versus MSK.
And yes, Unsold Stuff. So again, of course, just a little quick recap. This is, of course, the team third seeds for both LJL and the GPL respectively. So the squads here from Japan and the Philippines will be playing out this game. But yeah, let's go ahead and do a quick recap of the bans as we head into the picks. Elise, Thresh, and Galio. So much more diversity for Unsold Stuff Gaming. I'd say much more standard bans. TG actually has been playing this Thresh a lot. Even during the GPL, so this is probably something that was scouted out by Unsold Stuff here. Zach, Caitlyn, and Lee Sin as well. So very diverse across the board bans for both sides. Really, not only is it a mix of respect bans, I'd also consider them, the primes of what really works as of this patch. So no surprises right there.
I really love how MSK is trying to ban out the jungler Neo, one of the threats in Unsold Stuff Gaming coming into this matchup, because the junglers right now are very powerful in this patch 7.12. They are removing that Zac and Lee Sin.
I'm actually surprised here. The Warwick actually going to be locked in by Unsold Stuff Gaming. I'm actually wondering if that is going to be Jungle Warwick, because it's interesting that they're bringing out this pick in the sense that going back to the GPL as well, MSK's Kaigu played this Warwick in the top lane. So I'm actually interested in seeing how this will fare for Unsold Stuff Gaming, if this will be a Jungle Warwick or if they're gonna kind of go for the same feat MSK kind of pulled off months back by sending the Warwick top to much success actually.
So right now the first picking phase is complete, with Unsold Stuff Gaming locking in that Varus, Warwick, and Syndra Whereas for Mineski, they are going for the high priority picks, the Ashe, the Zyra, and the Gragas.
It's very refreshing to see that Untold Stuff Gaming not afraid at all to take this Syndra right away, really capitalizing on the confidence that they have for their mid laner Remind on how he'll perform regardless of what Mineski decides to counterpick going into the second rotation.
So on to the second rotation of the pick. Unsold Stuff Gaming so far has yet to lock in a top laner or a support.
I like how USG, you know, there's a certain level of respect as to knowing what Mineski might potentially pull off to counter Syndra. The Fizz and the Kassadin, you know, both champions that we believe Exocent could potentially play against a Syndra, but regardless, you know, really banning that out to make sure that Remind could perform above and beyond on the Syndra without having to worry about potential counter picks. But looks like Mineski will be going for this Talia in retaliation.
So a pick onto the Talia, whereas USG will be taking away that Shen and Blitzcrank. One of a really comfort picks from Unsold Stuff Gaming, but let's see how Mineski will finalize their picks.
It's interesting because this Blitzcrank pick, for some reason, I've actually been seeing not just here for Rift Rivals, but even across the board for other regions as well. So, also, aside from that fact, if you're going to consider the overall synergy as to how a Blitzcrank might actually benefit Unsold Stuff Gaming, there's actually a lot of ways wherein Hook could actually be a very successful land, considering the tools of all the champions locked in for Unsold Stuff Gaming, like the Shen, the Warwick, the Syndra, the Varus, all have a certain type of hold, not necessarily a hold for Shen and Warwick, more of a taunt in a way, or the fear for Warwick as well.
The fear and damage reduction really helps him tower dive, so USG will be going for a more aggressive jungler compared to Mineski, who will be going for a safer jungler, more defensive, a Jarvan, very slow and clear, not that of a healthy clear. So when it comes to jungle pathing, I think Unsold Stuff Gaming will have the upper hand.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have both sides actually locked in right now. Compositions are out there, of course. Who do you guys think is going to be winning this? Of course, let us know in our chat right now from wherever you're watching. Are you rooting for LJL to get land their second win for their region, or do you want to see GPL as well potentially land their second? It's all about the second wins here for both third seeds. So yeah,
to get the momentum up and to make the standings count for each region, because like we said, this is about regions against other regions. So let's hope that both of these teams are ready to face off each other onto the Rift.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually quite the pressure for both sides, because both teams, you know, both their regions really perform as a team. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we'll be heading in straight to the action for our third game for Rift Rivals 2017. Of course, this is gonna be between the LJL's third seed versus the GPL's very own third seed. Let's get into this game right away.
And right now, USG, fresh from the base, grouping up towards their blue side, might invade the red side of Mineski.
And I really like how they're playing this out right here, really going to group together. But looks like Mineski as well gonna be, if I'm not mistaken, they're actually grouped up.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing that what USG is doing. So and right now we're seeing Appaman being that chunk of bait for USG, whereas Mineski, they are at the bot side. May go for their red side.
So there we go, still both sides grouped up. I'm actually surprised here, you know, regardless as we have seen both sides actually grouped up going into each other's jungles, but it's actually Mineski that made the proactive move to make sure to get vision on, as opposed to Unsold Stuff Gaming, even though they kind of went into Mineski's jungle, you know, to try to scout out, see if they could get any pickoffs or, you know, information, basically. I'm actually surprised that they didn't follow up with any vision to really capitalize on getting as much information as they can from the Mineski squad.
So right now, Mineski established some deep wards onto USG's red side. We're seeing pings coming from USG. Maybe they expect or suspect that Mineski does have some information in their jungle.
Yeah, there we go. So it looks like either way, both sides will actually be starting off with a new junglers. So this will transition, both junglers eventually transitioning to ganks towards opposite sides of the maps. So that'll actually be very interesting to see how this will play out for both the Jarvan the Fourth and the Warwick respectively.
So we're seeing that Hamed started in the blue side, whereas Neo also same mirroring the routine of Hamed, but Hamed will be going straight for the Wolves and then to the red side. So let's see. I think it's going to be Mineski ganking the top lane first than USG, which is a bit slower in their rotations, and not to mention the route that Neo is going is for the bot side.
I really like this Zyra and Ashtrick going up against a Varus and Blitzcrank in a way. Sure, we could definitely say that Zyra in a way, if TG's the one that gets hooked, that will definitely be very tricky because he is a squishy mate.
And right now, here it comes. James already slowly approaching the top lane. Don't watch place yet. He goes in for the standard combo, scares away Apeman.
Yeah, there we go. Definitely showing up there in lane, although that is going to be information for unsold stuff rather. So, overall squad here, knowing that Tom is having revealed himself towards the top side, so the bot lane will be able to, they can play it a little bit more aggressive if they want, knowing that they wouldn't have to worry about any potential ganks from Thomas over the next minute or so.
And onto the bot side of Mineski, they are playing a bit more safe in a way that I think they're forced under the turrets, and I think Kaiku is pushing the top lane really far in, trying to go for a gank or a flank, but TG takes a lot of heat from NT. Here comes James from the mid lane. Remind C-stats. So I think James is just establishing more pressure, and it's just going to show that telling USG that he is over the map, more pressure. But right now I see that NT and is there. Oh, he gets the hook onto him, and Neo was there, but James does have the upper hand. He does have the combo to get away.
Man, USG really showing a lot of great, using their vision wars to the advantage, going for the offensive warding into Neski's jungle, spotting out Hamas and potentially getting to initiate onto him, although Hamas didn't even, not a summoner spell burn though, because of the kit that Jarvan the Sword has, using the domestic standard.
Oh, he flashed in from Remind, and the burst coming from that Syndra will be enough for him to secure the first blood, but Hamas is there to assist, Axel says.
Loving the proactivity from Hamas right there, taking advantage of Remind, really going for the extension to take down Exos, and as a result was going for the 1-1, but still, overall, I feel that if you're going to weigh in on who got the better trade-off there, I'd say it's pretty even though. But regardless, we have to be careful here because this is Remind. Really, there has been such emphasis on taking the Syndra earlier on for USG. So without a doubt, there's definitely going to be that confidence knowing that Remind could perform above and beyond on this mid-lane picture.
And this is a Syndra we are talking about. Remind got that first blood without the level 6 of a Syndra. This is very dangerous for Mineski's mid laner. So when the level 6 does happen, that's bad news. But right now, Anti gets the hook onto Syndra. He's very low. No ignite yet for Anti to help secure the kill.
Man, that was very scary. But luckily, there wasn't really as heavy a follow-up from Haredi after getting that hook on, but still it did send the message. Great efficiency here coming from NT on these hooks for the Blitzcrank. So this is definitely something that Nessie has to take into account for.
And right now, Kaigo goes for the triple Doran's ring laning phase items, whereas Apeman has yet to go back. He will be getting the Tiamat definitely first. So when it comes to level 6 spikes, Remind does have the advantage. When a level 6 does happen for Exocent, he does not have this sudden burst. He gets more roam potential, but I don't think Remind will allow that. He is on a Syndra, and he will definitely try and burst him down when he reaches level 6. Right now he's level 6, so Exo has to be very careful.
I like how Hamas is being a bit more proactive on this map. As a result, Neil himself, for me, when you're running this Warwick, you want to try to get that level 6 so that your ganks would be much more potent. But because Hamas has been quite active, well, then again, at the same time, it's more of USG as well, knowing of Hamas' whereabouts because of his active vision. So, but regardless, Neo as a result was kind of forced to match how Hamas was ganking. But regardless, heading into that level 6, that's where things would really, that's where we'll be seeing, I feel, much more action because of the nature of the ultimates coming from both the Warwick and the Jarvan the support respectively, which has such an impact when going for these ganks here.
And right now Neo is approaching the bot lane. Anti might position himself here. No wards plays Chen. Anti goes in very aggressive. Tries to hook TG but misses. Neo gets spotted at the bot side of MSK. And when it comes to James on that Jarvan, he already has Tiamat. From that kill that really helped him scale up in goal, he immediately picks up that Tiamat. Will really help in his clear time, especially giving an assist to Axel. Said 150 gold is somehow of a compensation for giving a first blood to remind who is on a Syndra.
Regardless, you know, that gank, that was such a missed opportunity. Had NT landed that hook, that potentially would have resulted to yet another kill for them, especially since if you're going to consider the positioning of both Zencho and TV, Zencho in particular, like, he was pulled into that rush there. So that would have been quite bloody, but that crucial hook right there didn't really result to anything for them. But still, both summoner spells, now that I mentioned, for both Zencho and TG are up, so regardless, either way, that could have been something that USG could have capitalized on.
But for Neo's side, he does have the Tiamat. So when it comes to capitalization, USG does have the upper hand when it comes to gold, just by a bit. And the fact that Remind does have this pressure in the mid lane, really denying Exosen's role, is something that USG is looking for. But MSK, they do have the bot lane duo TG on that Zyra, but NT is such a huge threat in the bot lane because the way he moves really makes TG and Zensha fall back, and that's just showing from the CS. Look at that, 74 to 48. That is huge.
I agree with you, and I'm actually glad that you brought up that point there, because not just for bot lane, but even across the board, the CS leads for every single lane is eventually manifesting to their overall gold. And technically, they're pretty much, the kills are pretty much equal right now, but it's ultimately all manifesting into the CS, which is why MSK, in order to kind of counter this, they really want to make sure that their CS is on point from here on out, and also potentially try to get some proactive play on to try to make sure that the playing ground doesn't slowly tilt towards USG's favor, because we're definitely seeing a lot of mechanical efficiency when it comes to this farm game right here.
And when it comes to farm game, I think it would be Hareti on that Varus really getting the upper hand, or really getting the Cutlass more sustained for him in the laning, and a dagger will really help him last hit. And the fact that he has key items for the Blade of the Ruined King, that's going to be a huge statement for USG. MSK trying to push into the bot lane. They want some control, but we see Axo trying to rotate in. We see James. It will be a 4-man collapse. Antique flashes outside, but the stun gets caught by Hareti. Axo gets the kill and TG cleans it up. 4-man dive succeeds for MSK.
Oh man, that was amazing. Flawless execution coming in from MSK right there. Classic 4-man gang nearing the 10-minute mark, and this will ultimately transition into the first turret of the game.
Right now, MSK 1-3 kill score, and probably the first turret of the game. They will be securing a lot of gold for their team.
But regardless, you know, even with that first turret take, it wasn't as significant because still, MSK had all the advantage there. Not only did they get 2 kills, but first turret of the game, but
there comes the collapse from Axel. Said he does make it in with the Weaver Small. Axel flushes away from the stun. Remind still lands the stun, but Axel's very low on mana. Kagu is there. Hero Theo does not have enough mana. Appaman is there from the top lane. Anthony's there for the knockup. TG's very low. Same with James. Flash in from Appaman. Fails because of the knockup from the Thorns.
Man, 1 for 1 there for pretty equal here. But then again, even with these victories that MSK is securing, the question on my mind here is the goal lead, even though it's 200 the difference, still leads towards USG.
So right now, I think from that clash itself, they will be going for more of an Infernal Drake, more objective-wise. So this is something that USG planned, I think. They were willing to trade off what happened in the mid lane, down straight to the Infernal Drake.
Man, it's very interesting though. Again, what I gotta commend MSK, the proactivity is absolutely commendable. But then again, at the same time, what the big question here on my mind is, regardless of that proactivity, the victories that they're managing to get as a result of doing so, the goal, like the smaller things, like even like I mentioned, keeping on mentioning the CS for the LJL squad, still very much on the higher spectrum if you're going to compare it to all their counterparts from the MSK squad here. So again, it's still very much equal, And at the same time, Mineski, I believe, if they really want to pull off a great win against the LJL squad, they want to continue to push these proactive plays to a point wherein these small victories that the LJL squad is getting for managing to keep up to par manifest in the CS leads that they have.
So I think from that clash, it was very choke point for Mineski. So willing to trade that all for an Infernal Drake, I think it's pretty work for USG. But I think right now we're having some technical difficulties. It would be a headset issue.
You know, communication is definitely key when you're in these very crucial games. Like a missed outcome could really spell the difference between a successful and a mediocre clash for both sides. So of course, we'll be getting into the action a little bit later though. But yeah, let's go ahead and tackle on a little bit more of what we'll see.
But right now, I think the issue has been solved, and we will be going up
Yes.
to endgame pretty soon. And seeing how the players are all tense, I think they are ready.
Yeah, you could totally see. I'm not sure. It's like a complete mix of the nerves and at the same time the determination to just really want to win this game. Because, again, for LJL and GPL squads, they're off to a great start. Both sides, for both Game 1 and Game 2, securing a win for their region. So it's actually this Game 3 here that'll determine who will ultimately spearhead the lead into taking first place out of the 3 regions. And so there we go. We're actually just waiting for all the action to start out here. Just checking out if everything is resolved on their end. So of course we are in that isolated pause here. So this is actually very typical of what usually happens when you're in a professional scenario here. Like both sides, once you're in that pause, it's kind of like you're isolated from collaborating with your other members here until the issue is resolved. Because like, you know, even though those small pauses, you could really kind of discuss strategy. So if you notice, like once we hit the kind of the behind the scenes as to what's going on, but it looks like everything might be ready. So in game, we might.
Let's
actually
go
move
straight into the game right now to see what's going to be happening next. As far as we've seen previously, USG was taking the Infernal Drake, and so they have. And right now, sitting at a kill score of 2-4, the goal leagues are not that far behind. Just 200 deficit. Mineski still in the game.
It's all about the trade games here for both sides, and looks like another juicy Infernal Drake for the damage amplification.
Oh,
It's gonna be
boy.
our next Drake for the game. So, but yeah, I mean, like I've been talking about here, Mineski definitely been emerging the better players here as far as these clashes, you know, really making the proactive moves to catch USG off guard. But then again, like I've been mentioning, USG has been managing to keep up to par with the Mineski squad through their creep scores, not only the creep scores, but also through the small objectives, such as the first Infernal Drake take.
So with the first Infernal Drake in the hands of USG, this is good news for Remind. On that Syndra, a slight boost AP means life or death for any members of Mineski, and I think Remind doesn't want any member to be alive right after the initial burst coming from the Unleashed power.
Yeah, and especially this is a Syndra that we're talking about here. And come to think of it, if we're going to look at the overall composition that Mineski has, there's so many targets here that could actually be taken down by a Syndra if ever, you know, Remind was able to execute a full onslaught of that combo.
So here we are going to be seeing a lane swap. James is making his way into the brush sides. Into the top lane, might start for a gank because NT is such a scary blitzcrank just from the way he is moving.
It looks like the Kaigo actually going to start building up on that. He already has his Mercury Treads, might actually be transitioning actually now. So again, this is one of the things that we were just talking about, and looks like even Exercise himself building up
On the
on
top
that
side,
defense.
James made the move to go in, but April is there with a Stallion United. Content TG will be taken out by Harati. Neo is there for the Flak members of USG. Has the upper hand in this clash with a clean score. Clean up for USG. 0-3 for nothing for Mineski.
Oh man, that was... Again, this is what we've been talking about here. It's still very much on equal playing field earlier because trades were happening left and right. So ultimately, whoever can make a great play and keep up the consistency, that's where things will work. But let's go ahead and check out what happened here. So it's actually Mineski, to to a great start here. It's just that Hamas at that point was taking so much damage, and plus the fact that he got hooked by NT really much secured his death. And then the response coming in here from USG, because Mineski was fully committed to the fight, but without taking down a single member, you know, it just really went for the reversey at that point, because the time that it took for them allowed USG to get their members right there in time to counter and take down Mineski.
So what a clean clash that was for USG. They knew what was up, and Mineski thought they had the upper hand, but USG's response was just too strong. Apeman is on a Shen, so leave it to communication on these pro teams to use that Shen very effectively.
And this might actually be the time when we're setting the first steady 3K gold lead in favor of USG. But then again, I'd still say it's very equal, because we've been seeing these trade-offs going back and forth. It's just that it's now on Mineski's court to try to get a trade-off on their own wherein they benefit, because technically they were the ones that initiated that, but it didn't really go in their favor in the end. So we'll just have to see if they could try to make that proactive play to get back and set things back into equal playing round, because USG definitely looking much more favorable for them as of this moment. But still, there's just so much room for Mineski to get back into this game and stop.
What happened there is that Hamas actually smited that blue buff because he thought that NT and members of USG are there, so better for him to have it. Then the enemy Axo gets denied of a blue buff, will really struggle against Remind on that Syndra, who is on a Storm Surger's raid. So he does have more mobility, but right now Apeman in the top side trying to fend off Zensho and PG. Zensho is actually catching up in CS compared to Hareti, but when it comes to gold lead, Hareti does have the upper hand.
I love the fact that the USG squad, even though Zensho and TG transition, going for the trade, going to the top lane, regardless, USG didn't change up their attack to match that. They let Aquaman stay, because looking at the wave clear and having that Titanic Tiger really benefits him immensely. That even this is 2 waves past already, but we haven't seen that much significant damage onto that turret yet. But looks like we'll be seeing a fight though.
So yeah, actually gets feared. He's locked up in an infinite duress. Remind is there. 4 members, 5 members. Whoa, collapsing onto Actus, and USG is really delivering the pressure. Apeman came from the top lane with that teleport.
This is the clear combo that I've been seeing here from USG squad here. As I've been mentioning during the start of the game, this Blitzcrank immensely benefits, grants NT these easy hooks once the other members of USG get the hold. And as we've seen, that hold coming in from Neo on this Warwick, transitioning into a hook, just pretty much secured a kill onto Exos and Epic. It's like a good done deal. That being said, you know, these are the type of things that Mineski has to be wary about, because every time the USG squad overwhelms Mineski, it's almost a guaranteed kill because of the perfect layering of CCs to the T coming from the squad.
And from USG's more reactive gameplay, we're rewarding them with a 5k gold lead, and now the Infernal Drake will be live in 5 seconds. If USG takes the second Infernal Drake, this is bad news for Mineski, because Remind on that Syndra will be a huge threat.
And if you think about it, if you're going to look at the Mineski squad's composition here, Gragas, Jarvan the Force, Talia, Ashe, even the Zyra, these are all champions that could potentially make a play if executed correctly. So regardless of the fact that Mineski kind of is lagging behind right now at the 4,000 gold lead deficit, still, given the kit of the champions that they have for their composition, there's just so many ways that they could actually get by. It's just that they need to find that right opportunity to catch the USG off guard.
Oh,
Hamas
actually tried to go into Neo, and he's there. Hamas got feared. Does have the flash for the escape.
Man.
Now with the Infernal Drake live, Hamas has no flash. USG already trying to establish more control in the Infernal Drake. But we see Exo moving in with a reverse wall, cutting up Remind. The Crystal Arrow connects onto Neo, but Neo has to stand united. He gets displaced by Exo. Apeman is there. TG is very low. There's the Cataclysm by Hamas, but no follow-up from Mineski. Remind is going for the wall. Kaigo gets bursted by Remind, but will not get taken down. TG is alive. Kaigo is very low. Members of USG lost no one, while Mineski lost Hamas and now might lose the Infernal Drake.
Oh man, this is tricky for Mineski at this point. A double Infernal Drake for USG, plus the fact that they are in control of this game right now because of the lead that they have. So it's quite worrying for the Philippine squad at this point, because if they're not able to recuperate and make any proactive plays that will help them get back onto equal playing field, it will just be USG at this point mauling them through. And again, we've been talking about how potent the Syndra will be for Remind, and the damage output is just going to be absolutely insane, regardless of the fact that he might not be the best player with the best KDA for the USG squad, but still, it's very much passable. 2-2-2, plus the fact that he gets that damage amplification from the double Infernal. It's very scary for Mineski. If anything, almost every single member of Mineski is a prime
and
target.
the landed a hook onto James. He can't escape. Remind just got the kill very easy. That's easy 300 gold. Right now, Remind is 3-2-2. He has the Leandri's Torment. A very painful item because the magic penetration and the health is just more than enough for the Might to be this huge constant threat.
Easy kill indeed, and take note,
Oh
didn't
boy.
even need the ult to
He
take
did.
down James.
Zensha got scared.
And this is very worrisome. If you're going to look at it, James was quite vulnerable to the Syndra. Not a single telltale sign of any form of magic resist, in comparison to the other players which have made a proactive step to go for Mercury tabs in the form of both Kaigu and XSN respectively. So, you know, just the overall confidence, USG capitalizing on these things. Again, these small victories that they're building up on to overwhelm the Mineski squad. Again, I'm really hoping to see a lot more proactivity from the Philippine squad, because otherwise it's just, again, USG continues to maul time and time and time again.
Audio is there, ready to go all in. He is going in for the fear to pop that shield. Now the shield is down, the Exocet is fear. He gets it for the infinite duress. Apeman goes in for the flash and taunt. Will land them a kill.
Man, the confidence though, but looks like they're not done just yet.
Kaigu trying to make some room. Members of USG backing away. They got what they wanted.
Fortunately, Explosive Cask is down for Kaigu to make any further plays, but looks like that is going to be the sign of the Rift Herald actually being summoned. Just have to see though. Will we be seeing a charge? Yes, there we go. The damage is absolutely crazy. But yeah, this is, again, the pickups, the small victories just keep on manifesting for USG. Some members of Mineski actually getting picked off time and time. So
it's going to be a huge setback because when they get picked up, USG gets objectives. Look at that. 5 turrets, while Mineski just has 4. And now, USG having 2 Infernal Drakes is just showing. Looking at the damage coming from Neo, attack is more than enough to actually take down Exo. He is on the fervor of battle, so that is going to be a huge AD bonus. Whereas Remind has the Morello. CD reduction, more mana, more AP. That's just deadly for Remind.
Man, again, I've got to commend the coordination coming in from the USG squad here. What I really like is they're able to perfectly layer their CCs, and they know how to juggle out when they go for these tower dive plays. So we'll just have to see, you know, with this type of coordination coming from USG squad, they're just utilizing their composition to the T. Again, in order for you to really maximize this composition, you really have to know how to play around these champions. Again, has to be layer upon layer of making sure that you dish out the right CC at the right time, just so that you can make sure that you secure a kill without expending all your resources in one fell swoop and not get anything.
But when that happens, USG does get the upper hand from Mineski. They do have a setback. Looking at the Gold League, USG has more than 7,000 than Mineski, and 2 Infernal Drakes is more than enough for USG to compensate the lack of damage they had at the early phase of the game.
We'll just have to see, you know. Again, the gold lead, this is what I've been talking about here. Even though it's been quite small, USG has been having that small lead, but then again, it keeps on widening and widening and widening from like literally hundreds to manifesting into the 1 to 2K mark, manifesting into 4, just slowly building up now. That Mineski, you know, they really have to try to respond to this at this point, because USG, they're just showing so much control, so much confidence in this game that they're able, the confidence to really make these plays work for them.
USG gets spotted at the red side, so when confidence comes, I think USG has it. Apeman is going on to Kaigu. Look at the damage that Apeman is bringing into this game on that Shen with the Titanic Hydra. The Stand United is available, so when USG goes all in, Apeman will respond. And now Kaigu does have to teleport, but it's a bit too slow. Here comes the arrow. Remind flashes away and pop his heal.
Wow. So there we go.
I think NT signaled Remind. NT did see the arrow.
Yeah, Enchanted Crystal Arrow now down, so that is information as well for USG that one ult from Mineski is down, and
2 summoners down for Remind, so it's a really good investment for Mineski.
indeed, you know, hopefully this is something that Mineski could potentially capitalize on, but looks like we'll actually be seeing a Baron take from USG. Very gutsy.
Oh, USG very gutsy, going for the Baron. Mineski trying to make some signal of warning, but won't be enough. Caillou gets rooted down. The explosive gas is there for the disengage, but we see James still going in with a scarred awake, landing on the 2 members of Mineski. Remind picks off James. Zencho still trying to catch off members of USG. Exo has no mana. Harete is very low. Zencho trying to get a kill. The stun will not connect onto Zencho.
Oh man, this is not juggling quite correctly for Mineski at this point. You know, things are just not adding up, but then again, that Baron stall was still very good. They were able to prevent USG from taking that Baron, because if that Baron was secured, then that just would have caused all the more problems. The window of opportunity for Mineski to get back into this game would have substantially narrowed down to the T. So again, this definitely gives Mineski for room to breathe, try to recuperate, try to think up this game plan here, realize what their win conditions are to get back, because right now it's looking pretty stale.
Really looking stale for USG in a way that they are trying to close in the game, but right now, the Ocean Drake is live up for grabs for both teams, but USG having more gold, more items, more damage, they will be establishing more control in the objectives, whereas Mineski is forced just to respond.
You'll just have to see right here, Exosen actually doing a good job controlling, making sure that the lanes are... This is something that Mineski has to control right now. They really don't want all these lanes to get shoved in, because the more pressure USG exerts across the map, you know, getting the waves pushed in that Mineski has to respond to, the more it allows them to take objectives, such as this dragon right here actually. Again, the control, very interesting. Because of this top lane getting pushed in, Exosen forced to respond. Again, it's basically the Mineski squad kind of surrendering themselves to what they need to defend at the moment in order to make sure, especially this Baron. So Dragon, probably something they could give up given that they are lagging a bit behind, but definitely it is the Baron that they don't want to give up 100%, because that Baron rather, would be such a game changer in the sense for USG that from this fantastically that they have just would have spearheaded into almost an auto win for USG.
Look at the amount of vision control USG denied from Mineski. So many wards were removed from Mineski, and now they're in the dark. The Baron is live. They're confused, but in the bot lane, Apaman still doing the same thing as he always loves to do.
Total darkness indeed.
Total darkness for Mineski, and then the Baron is exposed, and they have no idea. Really kept into the dark, but they do have one ward to see that USG was making their way in.
Thomas is within the vicinity though, but Mineski
Teleport coming in. Apaman is going to be teleporting, whereas Kaigo will be going towards the Baron pit. The Baron reset it, so Mineski just bought more time, but I think USG will not give up just yet. And ultimates are all up for both teams. Kaigo does have the flash, not yet ready. Does have the explosive catch. James has the smite, flash, everything. We were small to cut them off, but Baron is down very low. And James goes in for a steal, maybe. No! USG still takes the Baron. James flashes over the wall, but Neo is there with the infinite duress and now chasing down TG. TG's left alone. Kaigo's there for the explosive cast to save his teammate.
Man, that is such a shame. If that Enchanted Crystal Arrow connected, I feel like that would have made the difference. Potentially, like, Enchanted Crystal Arrow connecting with a layering of CCs from Mineski could have granted James that opportunity to steal. But because it missed out, things kind of went wrong at that point. Sure, we were swallowed to cut off members of USG, but then again, to the cost that James goes down, regardless, this is USG, might potentially able to finish the game.
Great hooks coming from on NT, securing kills and objectives, but two-man body slam connects, and he's very low. TG picks up the kill. Apaman trying to go in, but the Spirit's Refuge denies so many damage from Zencho. There's the slow from Zencho, and the poke from Exo. Let's see, Zencho still trying to make some plays, but the unleashed power is just too much for TG to handle. He gets taken down. James goes in onto Remind. Remind gets taken down by James. The smite helped him for the regeneration, but USG in the mid lane cleaned up the members of Mineski with only James blinking red. I think this is a really bad news for MSK. There is the ace. USG picks it up.
Man, and look at those death timers onto Mineski. I think this is pretty much a done deal. USG just really mulling down Mineski from the get-go of start of the game. You know, slowly capitalizing even on the equal ground to just making the goal difference exponentially huge at this
8
point.
seconds left for Zensho. Will he make it through? Harati is really not stopping at all, really aiming to end the game as fast as he can. His teammates are going in for endurance onto TG, gets killed off. Neo is dominating with USG dominating this game between Mineski, the 3rd seed of LJL, secured the victory against Mineski, the 3rd seed of GPL.
Man, that was pretty astounding, especially since we are looking at the 2nd seed from Japan. But the way they played, a 3rd seed rather, actually that was 3rd seed. But the way they played that out, definitely very impressive, I gotta say. You know, they were just in total command of that game. Again, what I've been saying here is that we've been seeing all these games wherein it's pretty much equal at the start, but then again, it's these small definitive clashes that these teams slowly build up on that just led them to this huge victory. But of course, you know, there we go, the handshakes.
Well, this is an opportunity for the GPL region to really be exposed to the international teams. This is more of a culminating activity in my opinion, but this is Ref Rivals. Let's see what's going to be coming up next. Actually, it was really an entertaining game 3. Mineski did have a good start, but USG, they really read the minds of Mineski there.
Yeah, I gotta say, not just read the minds, but I feel like both sides were being proactive. It's just that the proactivity coming from Untold Stuff Gaming was much more successful for them when Mineski, they did make these proactive plays, but that one clash early on really started to set them back in a sense, I believe. There was that one clash wherein it led to 3 kills off of Mineski, and then it just started skyrocketing for there from USG.
I gotta say, for USG, they really had their macro in game very superior, very well in time, especially in that Infernal Drake pit. They really singled out the members of Mineski, especially Hamas going all in, was really punishing for Mineski, and USG caught that, and they got majority of the Drake. So I think that was a very impressive game. We have been a Shoutcaster. I am Vulcan, and with me was Arctic. We'll be back after a short break. You just watch the Ref Rivals.